Oh, hello, Alan. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Nikki. How are you?
Good. And first of all, I want to say thank you very much. You're doing another Agnes showing come September at the Kirby?
We are, yeah.
Thank God.
First three showings were so well attended and so well received. And people asked. They said, I was out of town. I couldn't get there. I want to go see it again. I want to bring my kids. I want to bring my parents. So we added a show for Saturday, and all the other shows were on weekdays. And that was another request we got. Can you show one on the weekend? And so we've answered everybody's request. Yes, we're doing another show, and we are doing one on the weekend, Saturday, September 17th at the Kirby.
So what's your next project after Agnes? Are you going to do anything?
Sleep.
I
haven't done in 2 years.
I think you should do something about the musicians in this area to put on the big screen. The history of.
I've thought about something like that. We'll regroup a little bit. We're going to take Agnes through the rest of this 50th anniversary year, and we want to get out into the schools this fall coming up, because that was a big part of our motivation for making the film. We really wanted to show it in schools, not so much maybe a social studies teacher showing it in class on a TV, but actually having a showing in the auditorium on a big screen and bring the whole student body down. And we've already had some discussions with some schools about that.
What we used to call an assembly, I remember.
An assembly, yes, an assembly, yes. That would be ideally how we would show Agnes. So we're reaching out to the superintendents of the schools and some of the principals, and there's been some positive feedback on that so far. And that's a big part of the reason we wanted to make the film, too, is not only to honor the people that lived through it, particularly our grandparents and our parents, because we didn't do the heavy lifting. We were little kids, but they did. But to also show the young people of the community exactly what happened here. So we'll be doing that in the fall at the schools.
Very beautiful. Now, I don't think you ever sleep, first of all. I don't know when you find the time, because you're in this position as the Luzerne County, what is your exact title again?
I'm the executive director of Luzerne County Visitors Bureau, or Visit Luzerne County. Been in the job for about a year now. So
that's some heavy lifting right there, Alan, with events and all, and you're so involved with music. Now, with this Rockin' on the River that's coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that the Visitors Bureau started back in 2019. Former Luzerne County manager Dave Pedri, it actually was his initiative to start these shows. He worked with the Visitors Bureau, my predecessor Ted Wample, and the great staff here at the Visitors Bureau, Donna Keys and everybody, put a great team together right out of the gate. I mean, they got people from Mountain Productions on board, the FM Kirby Center on board, Mohegan Sun Arena, Riverfront Parks, Diamond City Partnership. Everybody got involved immediately. These shows were very successful. I got on the committee that first year.
Of course you did.
To help out, trying to help out. Well, volunteering, trying to promote some radio, do some radio, and it was amazing to see that amazing, beautiful venue with music, and the river as the backdrop, and come to life.
Just thinking about it,
it's been going on now for years.
Just thinking about it, I get that really great outdoor concert feeling, and knowing that we have such talented musicians right here in our own area, and some of them I would much rather see than see a concert.
Hey, absolutely. And so, the first year was very successful at the river. The second year we couldn't do it because of COVID, but they still did it. They did what they called Rockin' the County, where they got the flatbed trucks out and they drove around to 5 different communities with local bands entertaining people. So even during the worst of the pandemic, the summer of 2020, the music still went on. Last year we were back to normal, where we were, had great crowds down at River Common at the Millennium Circle again. And you're right. I mean, in addition to bringing in some of these national touring headlining acts, we also have local bands on the bill, and they've always done that. So, this year Teddy Young is on the bill, the Idle Kings, Dustin Douglas, the Taxmen, Southside 5, Mike Miz, Cabinet. They're all part of the series this year. A couple of the bands coming in are the national touring tribute acts, which are very popular. This Friday, for example, the lineup is Teddy Young and the Rugged Individuals, the Idle Kings, and Danny V's 52nd Street Band. That's a tribute to Billy Joel. So this Friday, Teddy Young, the Idle Kings, and a Billy Joel tribute.
Wow.
The following Friday, Tori V, a great young artist, talented local artist, followed by Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentlemen, and then the Taxmen, who do the Beatles. So all of those artists on the 22nd are from northeastern Pennsylvania. And on Friday, Southside Five, which are a local band, Mike Miz and Northeast Extension, who has roots here in Northeast PA. He's been in Nashville for a couple of years now, but obviously he cut his teeth here as a musician, as a songwriter. And then headlining are Cabinet, who are a national touring band, but they are from northeastern Pennsylvania. And so, great lineup of music. Sponsors, we couldn't do it without them, Nikki. Geisinger is a major sponsor. Discover NEPA, the City of Wilkes-Barre, Mountain Productions. Some of our other sponsors include the Luzerne Foundation, the Susquehanna Brewing Company, King's College. Just so many people step to the plate to make these events happen. The Visitors Bureau, of course, sort of orchestrates it all, but we couldn't do it without all of the help of our community partners. And people love it. It's just a wonderful setting for music.
What a good time, yes. Thursday's high, 80.
This is the Nikki Stone Show podcast.
Friday is going to be sunny with a high of 84. It is 10:36 in the morning. Alan Stout on the phone. So Friday, for the very first day of this Rockin' on the River, or it's Rockin' the River. I keep adding the word on. I apologize.
Yeah.
And Alan, who happens to be my favorite music writer of all time, and he was so involved and so supportive of local talent. For you to step into this position with the Luzerne County Visitors Bureau was perfect, because you love the area, and when you do events like this, musicians,
Oh, it's I guess you could say it's in my wheelhouse, but the team was here. I mean, Will Beekman from Mohegan Sun Arena, who spent years as the executive director of the Kirby, and now is the general manager of Mohegan Sun Arena. He really books the talent for Rockin' the River. I talked to Will about it, and I might say, hey, I think Dustin Douglas would be a great fit but to have this team in place is amazing. And anything that I've ever done in my life, Nikki, whether it was the old Concert for a Cause or the Agnes film or the work I do at the Visitors Bureau, the best things I've ever been a part of were team efforts. And Rockin' the River is certainly that, not only with the music, but with the county, just other departments here. We have help from the Roads and Bridges Department and the Building and Grounds Department and the Sheriff's Department and the Visitors Bureau. And everybody's, on the same page, trying to give everybody a great night of music at one of the crown jewels of the entire county, which is the Millennium Circle at River Common. It's just a gorgeous setting.
So people who might not know, if you're getting people from maybe Pittston or even Wilkes-Barre area, how people don't pay attention to what's going on in their own backyard.
Absolutely.
Millennium Circle is exactly where?
It's right off, it's between the courthouse and the Market Street Bridge on the river. That's the easiest way to describe it. That's a stretch of the River Common area that runs between the Market Street Bridge and the courthouse. There's plenty of parking around the streets. There's some lots. When they launched this series back in 2019, they worked with Diamond City Partnership, and they came to the realization, I believe there were 4,000 parking spaces within 2 or 3 blocks of the River Common. And so everybody just finds a place and walks over. You come through right under the portal, sort of the back of the Iram Temple. That's kind of the back parking lot of the Iram Temple is directly across the street from the Millennium Circle entrance, and it's handicapped accessible. There's people, there's ramps there, so you can get down close. If you want to come through the top, you can easily navigate around. The first time I went to Rockin' the River, it's a funny story. I heard it was happening. And I wanted to go check it out because I always thought that music should be done there again. There was a small music series that was done about 10 years ago that I was involved with, not nearly on this level. It was called Jam in the Park. And so when I saw that the Bureau was putting these shows together, I went over on my bike I just rode because I live over on the west side, so I just took a bike ride over. And I never did that again because there was like 4,000 people there, and it really wasn't that easy to get around on my bicycle. But my point is, it's easily accessible, plenty of places to park, an easy walk, and like I said, just so beautiful. Nesbitt Park on the Kingston side behind you, the Susquehanna, the bridge. The shows kind of usually end up winding down around 9 o'clock at sunset, so the sun is starting to go down in the west behind the bridge and the river.
Yeah, it's just all perfect. It's just the right atmosphere.
Just perfect.
Yes.
And the vendors, of course, lots of food vendors, and plenty of choices to eat, and Susquehanna Brewing Company's there with some of their craft brewers, and so it's just a great time.
Nice. All right, I want to talk
free.
And it's free. Free is the best word of all. Just bring cash to eat the food and, whatever. But that sounds like a really good time. I want to just talk a little bit more about the bands that are playing coming up right after this break, okay?
Absolutely.
Alan Stout joining me, Executive Director of the Luzerne County Visitors Bureau, talking about Rockin' the River kicking off this Friday.
This is the Nikki Stone Show podcast.
Alan Stout on the phone with me. We are talking about Rockin' the River in Wilkes-Barre and Millennium Circle, 92 North River Street, if you want to put that into your GPS, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
And some really great bands are going to be out there. So it kicks off. This Friday is the first day. What time should people be arriving?
The venue opens for Rockin' the River at 5, and the music starts at 6.
All right, so
get there between 5 and 6 o'clock, and you'll be fine, and you won't miss anything at all. Some people like to get there a little bit earlier, get themselves a spot on the lawn, maybe get a little dinner if they're not going home first. Some people come right after work, but you get things rolling around 5 o'clock, and the music starts at 6.
And bring a blanket, a chair, whatever you need, so you can
make yourself comfortable.
Sit back and enjoy all the great music, the food, and the fun. Now, this week, we have 3 bands playing. Teddy Young and the Rugged Individuals. Tell us about Teddy's music for maybe our listeners who don't know.
I've known Teddy since we were kids, coincidentally. Our parents were friends. My mom and his mom were childhood friends.
Nice.
And so I've known him since he was a little boy, and then when I got into writing about music, I did stories about him and radio, and Teddy is just one of probably the most respected blues artists in northeastern Pennsylvania, blues guitarist, with a rock sensibilities, obviously a rock blues musician, and we're looking forward to having Teddy. The Idle Kings are a classic rock band that do all sorts of classic rock music, and they've got a great reputation, and they've been playing not only here in northeastern Pennsylvania, but they've expanded their touring base, to other parts of the Northeast.
Well, one of the things when they named themselves the Idle Kings, they were doing a lot of Journey, like that super powerhouse music from the 80s and 90s.
Yep, still a big part of their set list.
Very nice. And then we also have now, How Could You Be, a Billy Joel tribute with the river in the background for the show. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's interesting you said, Nikki, because one of the things I did talk about with Will at the start of the season, and we'll continue to do this every year, is what kind of music fits the ambiance of the venue. I mean, that does kind of play into it. Where are we? We're at this beautiful river, and so some type of music lends itself more to it. And Will and I both thought that the Billy Joel would be great. We had Springsteen group last year, Elton John group last year. There was Tom Petty last year. So
how come there's no Jackson Browne tribute bands? Like Jackson Browne, I remember seeing over at Harvey's Lake, and the ambiance of that show, I will never, ever forget.
I was at that show. Yeah, I remember that show. 1990.
Let's not discuss the year, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring that up.
Well, I knew you back then,
yes.
So we probably said hello.
Yeah.
No, that would be a good one. I mean, Will and I even talked about maybe the Eagles someday or Fleetwood Mac. There's certain ambiance that kind of fits the river setting, and
yes.
we both felt Billy Joel would be a nice fit for Rockin' the River, and so Danny V's 52nd Street Band headlining on Friday.
Excellent, excellent. So this is the first week. Let's make it successful. Let's get out there and enjoy, and then get ready for Friday, July 22nd, where you have, Dustin Douglas. I mean, he's a standalone. He doesn't need anybody else to play with him, really.
He's a monster. I mean,
Yes.
I remember going back to the Concert for a Cause days, 10, 15 years ago, just blowing the roof off the joint with his band.
And he's only
the
gotten
electric-
better.
He really has. He really has. And Tori V, I saw her down at Tony's Wine Cellar at the Open Mic Jam probably 5 years ago.
I have a
She's still-
friend telling me constantly on Facebook, I have to go see Tori V. I have to go see Tori V. And I haven't gotten there yet. So
She's wonderful. And one thing I'll say about the Taxmen, too, the Beatles, who are coming in on the 22nd, the Beatles act, is what I love about them is they don't mimic things. They don't come out in Sgt. Pepper costumes or mop-top wigs. They don't even go in order. It's a set list of the Beatles music from every era. And so you might hear I Want to Hold Your Hand followed by something from the Sgt. Pepper's album, followed by something from the Revolver album, followed by something from Abbey Road. And they just do, and the Beatles never did that. The Beatles stopped touring in '66, so the last 3 or 4 records, they didn't even play live. So here's a chance for you to hear the ultimate Beatles set list from the Taxmen on the 22nd.
Wow.
And, of course, Cabinet and Mike Miz and Southside 5 on the 29th,
Nice.
which will also be fabulous.
mark your calendars. Alan, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you. It's